Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. I hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far, and it now does not seem to be a drill. Arcitys leaving FaZe almost seems nailed on. After all the rumours and drama of the last few days with Dashy to FaZe, whether that was even a possibility, we'll certainly talk about that today. But Arcitys leaving FaZe almost seems like a guarantee at this point. Other options I'm sure will be there on the table, but if Arcitys is indeed leaving, as he's indicated many times in many different tweets and many different sources have said, indeed he is, and the kind of the era that FaZe have had the last couple of seasons is officially over, and they're making a move. What is this change? Where's Arcitys going to go next? Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you are new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. Really upset the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that one. Loads of great support recently. First of all, we've got to talk about this Warzone versus CDL drama. This also from Skies quickly. The Wolf of the COD League, he says. And even Subliners reply, because we did hear the rumours that HyDra and Skies was meant to be a team of two over there at the New York Subliners. HyDra may now no longer be an option. Of course, we'll see FaZe here in a second. Now look, Skies, does he still go there as the main AR? That might make a fair bit of sense. I suppose we'll see how that one goes. This also, there was some drama between COD pros and Warzone pros. There's been plenty of tweets about this the last few days. Civ even actually kind of kicked it off. Comp players can go to Warzone and be good, but Warzone players cannot come to Comp and be good, and Repulse says the other thing. And even, Crone, I thought, I had another banging tweet right here. Scump wins 100 grand. World Series of Warzone solo YOLO game that are of the year. And of course, went over to Warzone and just dominated all of them. And then Warzone player wins CDL tournaments. Your search did not match any documents, so pretty good stuff. Now, look, Aiden, of course, I know that Aiden's joking pretty much here, right? So it's just a bit of fun, really. But I do hope the CDL capitalizes on this, or at least someone capitalizes on this, right? Because the potential right now over the coming weeks of a Warzone versus CDL type tournament would be absolutely banging, right? As he says, just know if I got a team of Warzone players together, I could beat any CDL team in hardpoint if we really tried. And even though, well, Simp's sake, he's for sure doing this for impressions, right? This lob wouldn't even stand a chance versus the Paris Legion. I love how he says the Paris Legion just to show the ultimate disrespect to the Paris Legion, right? So I thought that was pretty funny, to be honest, there from Sib. And even, Aiden's kind of replying here, and then he says, look, I tip your impressions so much, I can't even take you serious in the slightest. I wish you were competing, though. I'd probably make you go back to Warzone, though, disrespectfully, of course. I mean, yeah, this is what you want to see from Sib, man. I think this guy, we know he's got a personality on him. You don't often see it in the game and after the fact on Twitter. I guess they've tried to told him to calm him down a little bit, Sib. But during the off-season, Sib's going full force again. I love how usually you say, respectfully, of course. He's dropped the disrespectfully, of course. And even this one, he adds Aiden and says, this is a tweet from back in Modern Warfare, when there was a tournament like this, where Cellium, Dashy, Illy, and Shotzzy took care of Armin, Noobs, Tommy, and Aiden. And of course, Tommy, like a former pro player for many years. Aiden dropped 11 kills, not particularly pretty, but in fairness, right, if he maybe knew the rotations, all this type of stuff, he could have done better. And in fairness, Armin held his own. They only lost 250-183 here. Actually, you probably can't see it on the screen, but you guys know what I'm saying. Like, this on Ramar's hardpoint back in the day, so not a tragic defeat really for the Warzone guys there, but I'd like to see it happen again. Even as Aiden says, get your bread up, little man, kind of looking at the esports earnings charts, how much Sim has earned versus how much Aiden has earned doing Warzone stuff. The king owes you, go get your Riot Shield, buddy. So, pretty funny stuff, I thought, all things considered. Crone reckons that maybe Simp, aBeZy, and Cellium could 3v4. We'll see about that one, but yeah, hopefully a tournament like this does happen. It reminds me of the good old days with the kind of back in Black Ops 2 with the pros versus the pub stompers, and that didn't really work out too well for the pub stompers. So maybe a similar story could happen if an actual tournament happens as a result of this. Let's talk Arcitys and FaZe then, because, I mean, look, part of my mind still can't really believe this is going to happen, but apparently it is going to happen. We saw this tweet, of course, come out from Arcitys on the 18th, restricted free agent, I think, and we were like, okay, well, wow, Dashy's a free agent, surely the Dashy to FaZe thing is going to happen. Apparently, like, according to some people, I think Ben said, that they were never even thinking about Dashy to FaZe. That was never even on the cards. Shotzzy to FaZe was on the cards, but Dashy to FaZe was not on the cards. So that kind of super team we talked about was never really going to happen anyway. Now, I mean, look, it's an interesting one, because that shows to me that if Dashy was never considered in replacing Arcitys, and Arcitys was technically, according to what you would write down as the roles, he was the main AR last season on FaZe. Now, the reality is that Cellium, I think, played far more like the main AR than Arcitys did. Like, if you watch the minimap, Cellium was generally the slower player. He was the one generally sitting further back, and Arcitys had to play the more aggressive role, where he's not actually super comfortable. Now, look, Arcitys, I'm sure, wanted to stay in FaZe. It's FaZe at the end of the day. But even you guys remember when he was on Chicago Huntsman, he had to run a flex, of course, and he was on sometimes the M4, sometimes the MP5. He was great with both roles, of course, a few years ago in Modern Warfare, but he wanted to leave the Chicago Huntsman to go to a team where he could run a main AR. The opportunity opened up for him over there on Atlanta FaZe. He went to run the main AR on FaZe. Cellium was the flex during Cold War. They dominated that season, and this season, though, Cellium started to become more of a main AR. He started to slow down a little bit, play in a slightly different way, was obviously incredibly impactful like that, and then the role dynamic started to come into play there, where all of a sudden Arcitys was forced into a difficult role for him, where he didn't feel so comfortable, maybe wasn't performing as well, and now FaZe might have decided, well look, we might just upgrade our flex player and get a proper flex in instead of Arcitys, or do the Simp to the flex thing that we see. Now Arcitys did tweet this out yesterday with a kind of wink thing, and I was kind of thinking, okay, yeah, he's just baiting, it's all fake news, they're just going to run it back again. And this, in fairness, is the E United days, right? Is the E United jersey here when he was teaming with Clayster. I mean, probably not much to read into there, but maybe interesting at least. Prestinni, of course, who potentially he could team up with again if they wanted to, depending on where he goes. But I think that maybe he's not going to go to a team like that. I think he might have been probably a big name team with some players already there is going to sign him on, but he was playing with Simp and aBeZy, of course, at this time as well. And even just this to mention, because this hasn't updated yet on Spoonbill, but which kind of gives you an update on what's happening on Twitter and stuff, like in terms of bio changes and name changes. But yes, he has definitely, I believe, taken out Atlanta FaZe from his bio. So I'm like, look, if this is just an elaborate troll from Arcitys, which maybe he's doing, like he's gone to extreme lengths. The tweet about restricted free agent is still up. He's now taken FaZe out of his bio. These are some other ones to mention here. Prestinni also takes FaZe out of his bio. We knew that Prestinni was going from FaZe because he was an unrestricted free agent. They didn't extend his deal. Mack even takes player manager for FaZe out of his bio. Kind of interesting. Paul exchanges his location, and Afro takes Royal Ravens out of his bio. So we talked earlier today the fact that despite the fact that Attach was an unrestricted free agent, he's still got Minnesota in his bio. Ravens is gone from Afro, so probably an indication that yes, maybe he re-signs there, but he's certainly open to other offers, Afro, which I think is good to see for his potential future. Now, Arcitys then comes out with a lot more kind of cryptic tweets. Good things fall apart for better things to fall together, implying that, of course, great thing, the FaZe kind of era they had the last couple of seasons, been the dominant team since the inception of the seed. Arcitys, of course, has only been there for the last 2 years, and now also Arcitys became the top prize money earnings winner ever after the World Championship of all time. For better things to fall together, though. So, I mean, look, it's a cryptic tweet. Maybe there's not too much to read into it. He also says this, all it takes is timing. So he's just doing a lot of tweets like this. And look, at the end of the day, I was thinking, yeah, maybe he's just still messing around. But then Chrome comes out with the tweet and shows that, yes, indeed, Atlanta FaZe is gone from his bio, and says, for those still unsure, I have been told he is exploring his options outside of FaZe over the last 36 hours, and he is indeed a restricted free agent. So look, if Chrome says it, if Arcitys, all his tweets are pointing that way, you've kind of got to go with the flow now and believe that indeed Arcitys has been dropped from FaZe and he is going to move on to, well, potentially greener pastures, who knows, because it did seem like that he was kind of getting a little bit frustrated in his role this season. There was actually one tweet I wanted to find here, which is this one before we look at the other ones, where he says, someone called TacticalRab Mr. Cellium stole my role back in April when the kind of Cellium to the main AR was a thing, and then technically Cellium was back on the flex at the end of the year. But how often did you really see Cellium run the flex? Like, I think Cellium is more comfortable in that main AR role when he never really has to run an SMG. Now, you can imagine a world in which they bring in a player that's more comfortable running the SMG than Arcitys is, with maybe a higher ceiling, and they might think, well, look, last year FaZe, we were the second best team all year. Whoever we played, we never just quite had enough. Maybe they're thinking, well, look, do we really need the IGL in Arcitys? Can we just upgrade on pure firepower and share the IGL responsibilities? I know that Simp is a player that definitely has great communication as well, so that might be FaZe's idea. They might have decided, well, look, do we actually need this guy after all? Especially in the roles they wanted to run, and also because of this tweet as well. So as Sig comes in the reply, I just hope it's your choice to leave, and he says, lol, yeah, no, that's not the case at all. So pretty much confirming that he's been dropped from the team. I mean, look, if this is all an elaborate plan for him to just bait us all, then fair play, but I'm, got to be convinced at this point that he is indeed going to leave. He even says here, packing my bags, right, getting out of Atlanta, getting out of this Atlanta FaZe organization. Crazy scenes. Now, look, of course, the question is there, who's going to replace Arcitys? Because there are some options. Cammy, Attach, I know we talked about because they were potential OpTic considerations. Attach, to me, I'm not so sure, because my theory is, right, if they are dropping Arcitys, that's their plan. Sell him to the full-time NER, have a flex player that's more comfortable in that role than Arcitys was, and maybe can either add IGL responsibilities, or they're just going to share them around. The other thing to mention, though, is the fact that Crowder might be stepping down as the head coach of the team. So losing Crowder and Arcitys as the kind of voices and, like, keeping the team together, this type of stuff of the team. We know Arcitys brought a lot to that team, obviously. Like, losing him and Crowder in the same year, potentially, would maybe be a massive loss to this team, right? Maybe the team is confident they can kind of survive on their own, but, maybe they can't, right? Who knows, depending on who they bring into the team. Priest, of course, is a free agent. I doubt he'd be stepping into this team, but of course, he was on FaZe a couple of years ago. I'm not really sure if Attach actually is, like, super comfortable in that flex role. I kind of would honestly prefer Attach to be almost a main AR nowadays. I do think Cammy could be a great fit, in fairness. Like, he has an incredibly high ceiling and can be incredibly effective running an AR or an SMG. I'm pretty sure back in Cold War, the 4 MVPs, top 4 MVP players, were number 1 Simp, number 2 aBeZy, number 3 Cammy, and number 4 Cellium. So there might be a team of the 4 top top MVPs of the Cold War all teaming up with each other, but I still kind of doubt it. I almost feel like what they're going to try and do is put Simp to the flex and bring in another SMG player, which I kind of like, but then again, the issue is there, if you do put Simp to a flex, is like, you lose maybe some of the impact, right? Because the flex player is never going to be quite as impactful as the SMG player can be, so you know, if you do put Simp to that flex role, then maybe you do lose some of that crazy SMG impact that he can have. But if you did bring in a HyDra, right, that's what we talked about yesterday, if HyDra was getting offered to join this team, then could you imagine an SMG line on a 3 SMG map? Because there might be some 3 SMG maps, there's going to be some 2 AR maps, and maybe Simp runs the flex, I don't know, maybe he's more of an IGL on the team now, I don't know what exactly they're planning to do if they drop Arcitys, as it seems like they have. But yeah, if they are going to do that, like, can you imagine HyDra, aBeZy, and Simp running 3 SMGs with Cellium as the main on certain maps? Like, that sounds terrifying to me, and I know that Arcitys has at times been, in terms of individual performance, a bit of a liability, right? Hasn't always been so comfortable in the role that he was running this season, and of course, like, when you lose all these grand finals, tension is going to rise, and the team's going to start to think, well, you know, maybe we just didn't have enough firepower, right? They lost the Champs grand finals convincingly to Thieves, and they might think, well, you know, maybe we just need a little bit more. Now, of course, Arcitys, where does he go? That's the other question mark here if he does leave, and he has been forced out of the team. My understanding is that teams have already been effectively putting bids in for Arcitys, because he's a restricted free agent, they've got to buy him out, and that's certainly, well, someone's certainly going to do it. Now, Gunless is a restricted free agent from, of course, the Los Angeles Guerrillas. Maybe an Arcitys Gunless duo could come back to, well, haunt the scene again, as it did a few years ago, of course, back on E United. Prestinni, of course, another player to consider, his brother, of course, so maybe there's something to be said there about going to another team. The other options, of course, are organizations with money that can pay these buyouts. Not sure what Los Angeles Guerrillas are thinking, because you'd imagine if Arcitys is getting kicked here, he probably wants to be the main AR somewhere, right? He's wanted to be the main AR. He was the main AR on FaZe. They've now kicked him because he kind of became the flex, because Sil wanted to run the main, it seems. And now, like, Arcitys is probably still wanting to run the main somewhere. But if he was to go to Guerrillas, they've got Slasher. Like, does Slasher go? I mean, it doesn't even make sense, Slasher to FaZe anymore, like, with Cell being the main. So I don't really understand that one, to be honest. Maybe Arcitys too. I mean, look, as I said yesterday, the team that I would like to see is Surge, right? Arcitys replacing Accuracy on Surge as the main AR. I think that'd be fantastic. But, I mean, look, we'll see how it ends up, right? And even this, just to mention that Pred says, finally 21, so happy birthday to Pred from a couple of days ago. But, as he says, happy birthday, sexy, and in replies to this one. So maybe he's trying to cultivate some sort of relationship here with Pred before he becomes the main AR for the team. Who even knows? Definitely intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below, because for many days now I've been thinking, are they actually going to commit to a move? I've kind of like been thinking there's surely no way that FaZe actually do this, but I mean, yeah, I don't know. I expected them to at least stick it out for a couple of more events at the start of next season, but the fact of the matter is this offseason's been so crazy and there's so many big name free agents on the market. Like, if you're going to make a change and the team thinks internally that a change might be necessary, you can't really just wait a couple of months and try and make it at the start of next season if things don't go to plan, because all the free agents will now be locked up on potentially 3-year deals. If you want to make a move, now is the time to make that move, and that seems like exactly what FaZe have done. Is it good though for them? I suppose we might see over the coming days when things get confirmed, or even later today. Who knows what's going to happen, just because WrestleMania has been crazy. I'm sure there will be more emergency videos to come. Just wanted to mention this from Nick as well. He put together this beautiful kind of, you know, Call of Duty League format proposal for next season. This is the fundamental one, actually, and I think the way he's done this is really good. Like, just effectively the idea would be for many of these majors, have Alpha Bravo streams, have you know, different group formats as well. As you can see here, the kind of way the groups would work, like different groups of 3 where they'd play each other within the group and stuff. Not sure I like that quite as much as what we currently do, but I think on the whole this format is really nice. And we've got the kickoff event in even late November, and then a major in January. Then effectively he's got 6 majors here plus champs. That'd be cracking, of course. I think they'll probably go for 5 majors, maybe with the Pro-Am thrown in there as well into the mix plus champs. But like, as long as we don't have a crazy break like we did before, I'm kind of happy with hopefully what they're planning to do next season. If the season actually starts late this year, as it is rumored to, then I suppose that's good news. But yeah, FaZe will be turning up more than likely with a very different roster. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you are new as always. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.
A little bit, but it's okay. You just go to one mid somewhere. One just came out the hill. What the hell? Miz? Oh my God, stream. Get out of here.